Good morning, everyone, and welcome to University Unitarian Church in Seattle, Washington. It's Sunday, January the 24th, and we are delighted to welcome you to our worship service this morning. My name is Jon Luopa. I'm here with my colleague Beth Chronister, our musicians, Aaron White and Dwight Beckmeyer, and our tech crew. It is good to be together. May I remind you that immediately following the service this morning, there will be a congregational meeting, and it will start only some minutes after the service. We trust that you got the information you needed to access that and can join us for that important meeting. Also this week on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, we will have our Vespers service, and the theme of it this week is going to be COVID-related as we remember those who've lost their lives in this pandemic, as we remember those many who work to help us make it through as essential workers, and also the ways in which it has affected all of our lives. So it's a service of remembrance and gratitude, and we invite you to join us on Wednesday night and to invite any friends you feel may benefit from being together with that. Let us begin the service this morning.
Over. My apologies, folks. I started without my microphone on. I call us to worship with these words from the phenomenal poet Amanda Gorman, Youth Poet Laureate, who delivered these words at the inauguration this last Wednesday in her poem, "The Hill We Climb." And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge our union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes not on what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true, that even as we grieved, we grew. That even as we hurt, we hoped, that even as we tired, we tried, that we'll forever be tied together victorious, not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Welcome to worship this morning. Welcome to University Unitarian Church from wherever you are. It is a joy to be together on this morning. Would you please join now in singing the doxology, followed by hymn number 346, "Come Sing a Song with Me."
Hi, I'm Renee Murray.
And I'm Chuck Murray. And we're here today to talk to you about why it is that we give to UUC. The first reason is that we're pragmatic people. We realize that if there's no money, there's no mission. So all the things that we come to value about the church, its liturgy, the music, the religious education, and so forth, simply aren't going to function if we don't give. And the way we've chosen to do this is through an evergreen mechanism where we just have our pledge roll over annually every year so that we're always going to be included in the pledge drive. That's the most painless way we found to be able to do that.
The other thing I think is really important is the legacy we're building on, that we have had over 100 years of other people building this liberal faith community in the area for us. And so we're holding this and contributing to it so that it's there for us now and for the people in the future.
Our involvement with the church has impacted us in so many different ways. I can think of my involvement as a mentor in the Coming of Age program, for example, where I got so much more out of it, I think, than the mentees actually got out of it, all the friendships that I made and so forth.
And I served with the Social Justice Committee, and that was a great way to actually act on our faith and build it out in the community. We were in covenant with nonprofits, and folks from our church community were on the board of Powerful Voices, on the board of Casa Latina, and actually acting out our faith for social justice in our world.
And there's many other ways that UUC has positively impacted us. I mean, I could think of the men's group events that I've gone to, the insights into how to be a better human that I have gotten from coming to church, and the peace of mind that the regular practice of spirituality has brought to me. But the thing perhaps that this is my favorite is that, when we joined this church years ago now, we didn't know anybody in the community. And now some of the best friends that we have belong to UUC.
So we're contributing to this church for ourselves and for our friends. Thank you.
Thank you. Please join us in saying these words we say together each week. This church is a community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. When we contribute to the life of this community, we affirm our lives within it.
Would you please join me now in the spirit of prayer and meditation? Taking this moment to breathe, and arrive into a stillness. I offer you this prayer for our leaders and for the people. For our leaders in our highest offices, and for our leaders in every corner of this land. May you be blessed with an urgent dissatisfaction with injustice and an abiding love of justice. May you seek ever wider perspectives, a bird's eye view that encompasses both space and time. May you open your heart and your mind, and may you open the halls of power to voices and perspectives that challenge and enhance you. May you also know that inner voice of insight and integrity as companion within uncertainty and as guide within complexity. May you be blessed with clarity about when either courage or compromise are called for, honoring your covenants with the people above your own ambitions. And when faced with polarities and false equivalencies, may imagination and innovation illuminate new pathways forward, and may you have strength to enter into the unknown. May your faith in the possibility of a more just and equitable society and democracy make you unafraid of telling the truth. May you hold, alongside the longing for unity, the essential call for accountability, knowing that in order for unity to be authentic, there must be the process of coming together, making amends, and accountability. And may your hearts never stop asking the urgent and enduring questions of democracy and leadership. And for we the people, after some time of rest and repair, may we remember our roles and our responsibilities as members of a nation, and protecting future generations, and advocating and imagining and healing and marching and caring for the community and for one another, and planting seeds of transformation and in living not for ourselves alone. May we not forget our power, the power of being part of something much larger than ourselves, and may we not forget the responsibilities therein. May we keep waking up to the truths necessary not only for our individual survival, but for our collective thriving. And may we be blessed, and may we bless one another, both stranger and friend, as we roll up our sleeves and reach out our hands in this determined pursuit of a living democracy. To these imperfect and in-process words, I invite you to add the silent prayers and longings of your own hearts. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.
At 4:15 in the morning, the monks at the Trappist Abbey in Oregon have already been up for half an hour. And I get up with them at 3:45 when I am on retreat there. And we all gather in the chapel for the first of 7 worship services of the day. Later we will work in their bakery, their wine warehouses, or their book binding business. But at 4:15 a.m., dawn will not arrive for several hours, and the monks speak and sing toward a day that is not yet evident. They wait, they expect in darkness. It is an ancient practice, nearly 2,000 years old, and it began because they believed that the Messiah would come to them in the middle of the night, that their hope would arrive when they were in darkness. They call this first worship service of the day vigils, the time that they wait, and it is a location worth considering. And I find it highly symbolic in this ancient practice that when we are in the deepest darkness, we wait expectantly for a dawn that has not yet arrived, for a hope that has not yet materialized. I think it fair to say that we have entered a period of darkness in the history of the earth. Those of us who are most concerned about the ravages human beings have let loose upon the planet, its air, its land, its water, other species, we sit in darkness, wondering whether or not there will be time enough, or whether it is too late for us. Many people have ambivalent feelings and some confused notions about the place of human beings on the earth. Questions that we ask ourselves include, do we really belong here? Is the earth our home? Is death our only destiny? Is earth all there is? And over all this time of living on this beautiful and fragile planet, have we really learned nothing about taking care of our home? Many religious traditions do not help us in answering these questions, or at least they give us some wrong answers. Well, where should we look then? We know, all of us, that all living things will someday die. Yet human beings seem to be alone in this knowledge that someday all that we hold precious to ourselves, all that we love, will someday cease to be. And we are angry with that fact, and we curse death, and we hold on greedily to life, and we try to control the situation and deny the realities of our impact on the earth. Can it be that our stricken planet waits for us to come to our senses, waits for us to be less arrogant, more gracious in our allegiance and our caring? How can we, in that time of darkness, turn and stand and wait in vigil for the earth? Can we wait any longer in darkness for a day not yet evident? There are places for us, though, to look, to find some answers to those questions. And for me, I start with someone as remarkable and unremarkable as Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin came to see that Death was written everywhere across life's story. On the voyage of the HMS Beagle in 1825 to 1830, he found fossil remains on a mountain in Chile at 10,000 feet. He surmised that this elevation had once been at the bottom of the sea. He studied coral reefs and discovered that the floors of the ocean had settled hundreds of feet. Vast geologic change over time. That was his discovery, and it was a revolutionary discovery. And he wondered, could the same immense journey of change happen in the animal and plant kingdoms? And if so, by what huge and continuous force could it be powered? What causes change over time, he wondered. Now, Darwin was a highly literate Victorian scientist, but even more importantly, he was an imaginative observer. And he claimed that the driving force of evolving life was death. Death forced us to find new ways to live. He claimed that beneath the benign surface of life lies simple species which did not find the modifications they needed to survive. Current life forms produce better adapted offspring, which, if they modify themselves in ways beneficial to survival, will live. And those life forces that do not sufficiently modify themselves will be lost forever in the vast burial ground of life. And so death is the pressure in this evolutionary process, forcing simple organisms to become more complex. And they must do so if any given form of life wishes to escape the finality of death. Yes, they would eventually die, but their offspring would live only if they modified themselves to survive. And if they did not find a survival advantage, they would become extinct. So death is both the pressure behind and the fuel for life. What a melancholy discovery. And as it seems that human beings are the only living things that possess this awareness. What, then, survival advantage does this awareness have? Especially when it is this consciousness that provides us with knowledge of our mortality. How is it that human evolution is so dependent upon an activity we call learning? And how is it we have been able to survive when our species appeared over 2 million years ago, during a time when there was a sudden and dramatic cooling on the earth? In these puzzles, are there signs of hope? Some advance notice of hope? I think so. And that's what I'm looking for now, is some way of continuing to live hopefully in whatever shade of darkness you claim. Where can we begin? Darwin knew something that the social Darwinists who claimed to follow him did not know. Darwin knew that the story of life is more like a dance than it is a war. That evolution is more like a dance than a war. He knew that survival belongs to the nimble, to those who are quick to pick up signals and integrate those signals into better adapted behavior. And the human mind emerged over millions of years as our specific mode of being with growing awareness. In other words, we survived only when we had this kind of awareness, with increasing suppleness, and human consciousness evolved to help keep us nimble, aware, and to integrate new insight as our way of being part of life's great pageantry on earth. But we sometimes wonder, did nature make a mistake? Did she bring us forth so that we might become the curse of her experiment in living? Would we humans make a holocaust out of our anguished knowledge of mortality, seeking to control, denying our belonging, and dreaming of escape to another more permanent place? Would we worship not life, but death? Well, yes, sometimes. Darwin knew, and the social Darwinists did not, that evolution awards social species with survival, if and only if they are able to modify themselves in the direction of greater social collaboration. A successful journey through life requires the capacity to cooperate. A dance, not a war. However twisted and darkly we humans have behaved, and we have done so badly, we have always displayed at rare moments an evolution of cooperation over time. And it has not been individuals pursuing their self-interest that tells the human story, but our way of being social and cooperative that charts the journey from the Stone Age to the Hubble telescope. We have to not only be reminded of this, but we must recommit ourselves to this awareness and this knowledge repeatedly. Just think about the emergence of Homo sapiens 40,000 years ago from an ice age. What a cold and unpromising beginning it was. We emerged depending upon animal skins to keep us warm. Other species, better defended, more massively powerful, more armored, more autonomous and independent, did not escape extinction. But why did we? Because we were creatures who modeled our behavior not after blind instinct passed down from one generation to another, but we survived because we were capable of learning in the intervals between generations, and unlike instincts, learning can guide behavior toward change in one generation. In other words, we are bound by the behaviors of our parents and of our grandparents only if we choose to be bound by the behaviors of those who came before us. Can you see then how nimble we are and how important this could be for our survival? We possess this capacity now. We must remember this. And this kind of learned behavior signals a new kind of belonging, not just to the earth, but also to others who behave as we behave. For example, the meaning of a baby's cry is deeply misunderstood if viewed as powerlessness howling out its need. Instead, as George Herbert Mead saw, a baby learns to to repeat the gesture called crying because it previously has been successful at getting its intentions answered by way of crying. The meaning of a human cry, a learned meaning, is a confident sense of belonging, the demand for and expectation of comfort. I think this is what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. meant when he said that we live in an inescapable network of mutuality, learned behaviors with other people, other living things upon which we depend utterly for our survival. So let us clearly acknowledge then that we do belong to the earth and we belong to each other. And we may betray, in fact, we will betray this belongingness. We do become greedy and arrogant. We may despair and see only a future of death, our own, the species, the whole earth, even the cosmos itself collapsing upon itself. But as a species in general, and as individuals in particular, we do not live by lying or by greed or by arrogance. We do not live by fear of the future, by fear of mortality and its haunting anxiety. Instead, we live by an assumed confidence in the world around us. We live because of an assumed confidence in the reliability of those things that are all around us and upon which we depend for our very survival. What Darwin did not ponder, however, was that with the evolution of human consciousness, a modification was introduced that allowed us to see beyond our own private welfare. Others, after Darwin, learned that we could cooperate with groups other than our own. You see, we could go beyond the ethnic or the tribal. We could go beyond any category that we compartmentalized ourselves within and cooperate with those who are greatly different than ourselves. Darwin did not see that yet. In fact, what we were able to appreciate is a whole network of survival interconnections with which we are intimately enmeshed. We call it the interdependent web of existence. I call it a matrix. And in religious language, I call it the source. That it was conceivable that we might become a caretaker of this intricate, changing dance of life, where we have learned accurately, at long last, to locate our species' journey. So, in conclusion, our behaviors, lodged less and less in instincts and more in the mutualities of learned behavior, can today be changed within a few generations, but it may even need to be within one generation. And we can become less predator and more protector of our home here on earth. I believe more and more people are coming to this consciousness. I see more and more young people coming to this consciousness. They may be the salvation of our species. All of this is deeply possible. Yet there is no guarantee, but it is possible. The knowledge of death, this human destiny that has seemed to many the lonely burden of our species, can midwife a new beginning so that we might become a blessing to the earth and not its curse. Such a becoming would continue the becoming which first emerged 2 million years ago with the appearance of a Homo who eventually became sapiens. Last spring, when I visited the Trappist Abbey, nestled in the forests in the Willamette Valley, the daybreaks were filled with fog, like yesterday, like this morning, and no sun signaled spring. Weeks on end, at 4:15 in the morning, the monks gathered for vigils, an ancient witness to a timely hope that in darkness they would give their fealty to a dawn not yet evident, that they would wait and work and pray and hope together. May we do likewise for ourselves, but not for ourselves alone. Amen. Our concluding hymn this morning is hymn number 128, For All That Is Our Life. I wish to thank all those who helped to make this worship service this morning accessible to you, and thank you for participating in it, as so many of you do so faithfully week after week. It's an important link that we have, a vital link that we have in this virtual time. And I remind you again that on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock will be our regular Vespers service with a COVID-related theme. We hope that you can join us for that and to stand by for the congregational meeting that will follow this worship service just minutes afterward this morning. If you see God, may God be with you. If you embrace life, may life return your affection. If you seek a way, may a path be found, and the courage and wisdom to take it, step by step. Have a good week. Amen.